when to wrap it up with the person. So I actually have this in my office. This is a sand timer, and it is a 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute sand timer.
I have the clock. I'm going.
Yeah. I actually sent this to Claude. I sent him this one too. So if I'm talking to somebody and the conversation is going crazy, going out of bounds, I turn this over. If I can't get it back on track within a minute, then I'm going to start the hang-up process. If by 3 minutes we're still not on track to where I need to ring him back, I'm seriously considering, okay, this conversation is going to come to an end. After 5 minutes, I'm now losing money. This is what I use as my guideline. So at 5 minutes, this lady's talking about her dog clipping her dog nails and like grooming her like eyelashes and stuff like that. I'm like, excuse me, how can we talk about your house again? If we can't get back to that conversation, I'm out. I'm not going to control the conversation on me. So, I just wanted to throw that out there because someone asked.
That's a pretty reasonable price. I think the 3 minute timer's a little more than that.
Possibly, yeah. I bought this one off of eBay several years ago, guys. Yeah, this is on eBay.
Oh, that's eBay.
Uh-huh.
That's eBay?
eBay. Have it in my office. My kids love it because it's they always want to come in and flip it over and say, oh, I bet the red one's going to win this time. No, guys. Blue's always going to win. It's always going to win. And they got real smart one time.
That's cute when they're that age.
Yeah. They come out, if you look, you can loosen it a little bit, and they take it out and they rearrange it. I'm like, okay, guys, who screwed this up? Because I turned it over like it's like different ones, and I'm like, okay, this is not working right now.
Sounds like my kid.
It's a perfect kid thing.
Oh, man, yeah. I love my kids.
So Zillow does have it. My daughter was.
What's the address?
I can be because I was
Yeah.
raised with girls.
Uh-huh.
I can be a little OCD at the house, right?
Yeah.
And so I like on the table I put things in different ways. My oldest daughter is a smart ass. So somewhere
Oh, man.
I'm like,
I once dated a girl, and I'm like, tell me some of your hobbies. She's like, I love to rearrange the labels of the shampoo and conditioner and soaps in our shower so they all face out in alphabetical order. Excuse me? Click. We did not date for at all. It was just getting to know your conversation, but I was like, nope.
it's not that bad, but I like stuff facing.
Yeah. Her name was Darby. She was a cute little girl. So like I was 14 years old. I'm like, sorry, Darby, not gonna work out.
My wife, she does laundry. She just puts it in the office.
Yep.
Because that's where my clothes, my short closet is. She's got the walk-in. Because I look white, it's ready, it's all together. Just why do you do that? Because all wear black shirts, everything's black.
Awesome. Okay, so before we jump into this next segment here, what questions do you have about what we have talked about so far that have not been answered, or that you want clarification on?
So, ratio of like wholesaling compared to lease to own, are you doing a lot more lease to own than you are wholesaling?
So that's a really good question. When I first got started, I did absolutely like almost zero wholesaling because my focus in my conversations was only to do the skinny deals. Now that my financial obligations are met monthly by my skinny deals, I am doing a lot more wholesaling just because it's quick, easy paydays, large, huge cash infusions. If I were to go back and do it all over again, I would look for both opportunities. I think I left a lot of money on the table early on because, one, I didn't know what I was doing when it came to wholesaling. I felt like, oh, I never learned that business that way. No one taught me how to do this. I only learned how to do the skinny stuff. So I probably would have dug myself out of a hole financially a lot quicker if I would have wholesaled. So looking back, I'd say I would do a nice healthy mix and take whatever opportunity you find that are given to you.
If you have a property that can go either way, do you have
Oh,
preference?
great question. If I can go either way and I can make the same amount of money, I am going to do a seller finance.
Yeah, really.
Because, well, same amount of work, but now I got to go out and work again to get the same amount of money, where seller finance, I'm getting money monthly on that thing. So I will always choose, if All things being,
Cash
all things being considered equal, I'm going with the cash flow because I gotta go. Basically, gotta wake up and I got a job again. Gotta wake up and go hustle, find some new properties.
Well, and you have control of the property.
I do have
You
that's
more
true.
options later on if something happens. You can
Sell it again for more.
Yeah.
Yep. Great question. Very good question.
Statistically, how many of those are keeping up with their payments versus, I know you lost one completely in the foreclosure. Are there others? That you're
That was a foreclosure
resell?
defense that I was doing though.
Right.
So I knew that was gonna happen. Of all the properties I've ever taken back that I've had, the only property that I've ever had where someone could no longer afford it or keep it was my very first deal.
And then you just resell it? It
No,
breaks
no.
down, and then what do you do with
No,
it?
what happened was, and it wasn't even because of me. The seller who I was in contract with came upon hard times and could no longer afford his obligations. I'm like, look, dude, I got this house from you. I'm totally cool. This is fine, man. I'll give you this house back. I'm cash flowing this thing $150 a month. I'll give it back to you. You can use $150. Oh, okay, yeah, cool, man. Yeah, thanks. Give it to him. He reads the contract. What the? $15,000? You got $15,000? I want this $15,000 right now. Oh my God, I don't got that 15 grand, man. That was option money that she paid me. She's like, but you don't own the property. I own the property. No. I had an agreement with you to buy at this price at no money down. I sold it to her at this price with $15,000 down. And I just put myself in the middle. No. I want that $15,000. Look, dude, I'm giving you this property back. It's your property. So he goes to her. It's like, I want $15,000 you gave Ryan.
Oh my
She's like,
gosh.
I don't have $15,000. Well, then you need to get out of my house. So she's like, I have nowhere to go. I can't do this. I'm like, look, I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I'll get a moving truck. I'll put a deposit down wherever you're going to go. Obviously, I can't give you your money back because you're the one leaving the house, not me, kind of thing. So it was a bad situation.
So who decided to end that relationship?
I thought I was doing the right thing by giving him the house back so that he could save some money monthly. And then he saw that the opportunity he missed a long time ago.
How did you have the right to give the house back if she was buying it from you?
It's a great question. So what I did was I assigned my interest that I had on my original contract with the original owner over to her. And so I just stepped out of the way and she just took over with that guy. So she still bought it the same payment, but she just took over. Her option money then became an assignment fee to me, if that makes sense. So instead of putting $15,000 down, it was a $15,000 purchase of my contract, of my original contract. Yeah, we just reworded it that way.
But then that didn't give her any rights to the property?
Sure did.
Yeah.
But the seller said, oh, I want that $15,000. And it got all crazy, so she stopped paying on him. He went back into foreclosure. The guy was just like, it was a bad situation. My very first deal, learned a lot of lessons on it. Only property that I've ever had someone say, I can't afford it anymore.
And was it her that said I can't afford it anymore?
No, it wasn't. It was the guy saying, I can't afford to have you make money on this property anymore. And so I just said, sure thing, dude, you can have the property back.
But you could have.
I could have kept it, yeah.
Held a hard line on it.
I'm like, no, dude, I'm making the monthly payments. I'm keeping you out of bankruptcy. What the issue was actually he came to me and said, I want you to pay my bankruptcy attorney's retainer fee and pay my monthly bankruptcy fees. I'm like, dude, you're crazy, man. I'm not doing any of that stuff. In fact, I'll buy your other property so you don't have to go into bankruptcy. And that was where we had the fallout. And I had purchased already from him 1, 2, 3, 4 properties. And was working on a 5th when all that went down.
Sounds like he was on a path of self-destruction.
Oh, he already was. The dude was 72 years old. He was done. He had cancer. Just not
She had no
doing
legal
well.
recourse.
This gal,
Yeah. To stay in there?
she did. Well, she wasn't. She stopped paying him. When
But
she
if
stopped
you would've
paying,
kept paying
if she would have kept paying, she could have stayed. Yeah, that's the biggest rule. If you don't pay, you can't stay. She didn't like him because he had a key to the house and he was walking into her property. I mean, it got like crazy.
Yeah, that's a little bit weird.
It's so he started like coming in her house like, hey, where's my $15,000? She's like, oh, excuse me, what's going on? You know, like
Eating it shot.
crazy stuff. So I got calls from like the sheriff, like, hey, you're Ryan Nickel, you're the one that did this contract. Yeah, I did this contract. Okay, just want to make sure. Like, what could they do? It's a civil issue. But it was a bad situation. Like it was crazy. I was like, this is ridiculous, man. I can't believe this stuff is happening right now.
How
So
did that affect you as far as your motivation? I mean, that's a tough start. And this is a tough business.
it was my first start, so it was a great start. It was emotionally, it was tough because it ended up costing my relationship with my original mentor. He's like, dude, Ryan, there's a huge old problem. I'm like, dude, you helped get this thing together. You put all that, you structured everything for me. Why are you abandoning me now?
Wow.
And he's like,
On top of all that.
there's a lawsuit coming. I don't want this lawsuit. I'm sorry, man. This is your deal. So he bailed on me. At that point, I turned to my wife. I said, we have no reason to be here in South Carolina anymore. Let's go back home to California. And during that time, we found out that her dad was diagnosed with cancer. So I was like, okay, guess we really are going to California. And so that was that. So for out here in California, I had no money to. By that time, her 15 grand had already been a year since she's been in the property, and that 15 grand was gone. I mean, between moving expenses and everything else. And so what I ended up doing was I still had some credit card money left on my credit cards, and so I called and put U-Haul on my credit card, and then I went to Sam's Club and got 10 $100 Visa gift cards. So I bought $1,000 in gift cards and I sent them to her. I said, here's $1,000. And then I called and found a dude, and I was able to give him somehow money for a deposit for her and paid for the U-Haul and all of this stuff to give her some kind of like start back. 'Cause I felt obligated to give her something. I didn't have to, but I felt like that would be the right thing to do.
It's hard to do because, making that kind of commitment in a court makes you liable.
Yeah.
For more.
Uh-huh.
So that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah. And, I also signed, like, I sent to her, like, no recourse, everything, just.
Oh, did you?
Oh, of course I did.
Okay.
Yeah, by me doing this, you're satisfied. You cannot come back on me for anything. All obligations, everything, expectations are completely satisfied with this. And of course, she, unfortunately, was in a bad place where she needed help. She needed, a deposit for a new place. She needed some money. Couldn't give her cash. She didn't have it, so I did the best creative solution I could come up with was Sam's Club $100 Visa gift cards. Mailed them to her, and then of course paid for the deposit. So that's
That's a tough start.
It was a real tough start. But I had already gotten more properties by that time, so I had cash flow coming in. So I knew that this business worked, and I knew it just happened to be an unfortunate circumstance. Since that day, though, fortunately, man, I feel blessed. All of the houses that I have, I still have the original owners in them. And I've been doing this since 2014.
Are your contracts cleaner now than that one was, or is there like
Oh, I don't know.
administrative differences?
That's a great question. I don't even use that contract anymore. In fact, that was a contract that I never even wrote originally. That was a contract that my mentor put together, all the
Is
pieces
that
and
part
stuff.
of the issue?
I can't honestly say that because I didn't know what I didn't know back then. Yeah. So.
I got a question,
Mhm.
cleaning up. So in terms of just kind of your thought process or your flow diagram, you look at a potential property, you're looking at the ARV, finding out if it's underwater or if there's equity.
Mhm.
And then from there, is it just kind of like, is there a threshold where it's like too far underwater, not gonna try? Review.
Underwater's never the issue. It's how much does it take to bring it current versus how much are the monthly payments going to be versus. I mean, I had a house. This guy had a house in Carmichael, and fair market value he owed right about what is owed, like $278 on it. The problem of it was that he had an adjustable rate mortgage, and his monthly payment was $2,700 for a 3-bedroom house, and he was tired of paying it. He's like, I can't do this anymore. Can't do anything with that, guys. I mean, shoot. It's almost $3,000 for a regular, like, little ranch-style 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Who pays for that in Sacramento, man? Nobody does.
Yeah, it's high rent there, but not.
Not that high, yeah.
Not that
On that situation, so it really comes down to underwater all day long. I have properties that are like $50,000, $60,000 underwater. Monthly payment. Can they afford the monthly payment? Good question.
And the amount's breaking current.
Sometimes there are no amounts. They're just like, I'm tired of paying on something that is so far underwater.
Well, I mean, if that amount is too high.
Yeah, of course, definitely. If the reinstatement fee is way too far,
What the house is worth at that point.
doesn't.
It's,
Yeah.
it's the payment.
Exactly right. People buy monthly payments. They don't buy purchase price.
And then when you're looking at leads, are you ever messing with homeowners that are occupying the place in pre-foreclosure? Or are you just looking at the vacant ones?
I do, and I have. They're difficult because they're emotionally attached to the property. You have to find them a new place to go to. Your time is running out because now they're dragging their feet because why do they want to go move into a place where they have to pay rent, where they're living right now rent-free? So there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of challenges that come with owner-occupied pre-foreclosures.
So if you're desperate for leads,
If you're desperate for leads, yeah, man. Well, you're also gonna find that the timing of that one, it takes a lot longer for them to start to finish, from first contact to check. It's a lot longer because of those dynamics that are at play. I mean, there's one that I told you about that we moved the old lady out. I contracted that thing in March. We didn't end up moving around until June. 3 months. It was in pre-foreclosure. So, I mean, she's like, oh, March, June, whatever, it's okay. I mean, it took a long time for us, one, to find a property that she could want to afford, and then two, getting everyone all on the same page because it was her, 3 sons, a nephew, and a grandson. It's a 5-bedroom house. And then a bunch of prostitutes that lived in the garage. No joke. Like this was like
Awful.
it was like a whorehouse / drug house. Like it's the house that you went to in Willows with me, man.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. The Willows house, yeah.
Sounds like it could turn a profit.
I was hoping to, man, but just it wasn't my forte. So yeah, when I took over the property, we moved everybody out. I came back after moving them up to where they moved to, and I think Anderson or something like that. I came back and this girl was like picking up her stuff in the garage. I'm like, who are you? She's like, oh, I live here on this mattress. I'm like, no, you don't. She came back the next day and like threw the garage door down, like broke the garage door in. It's one of those old garage doors that like lifts up and down, you know. So she's like, I don't know how hard she must have hit it, man, but she she knocked the whole thing in. So, Gary, did you have a question?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, then let's just jump into any other questions. All right, contracts. All right, guys.
Actually, I remember it now.
Okay, cool.
So, you were talking about somebody with the $2,700 a month payment.
Yeah.
I think when I first met you, you talked about someone who had a high payment in Chico,
Oh yeah.
and you gave an example of how you handled that. If the numbers are right, would you, in their down payment, lower their payment for 12 months or something like that? And if you could see that they're potentially able to refinance in 24 months and then get that payment down or something like that,
Yeah.
that might be a way to take one of those nasty high payment jobs. And I think you mentioned a way to do it.
So what Gary's talking about is if you have enough equity in the property, and there's the option where they can, this was a husband and wife team. This was kind of a.
This Chico property.
This is a Chico property, yeah. So this is a really, really creative solution. I love these people because like, yeah, we're gonna pay you for your time. Yeah, we're gonna help you. Yeah. I ended up completely structuring the deal for them, and then they're like, oh yeah, we could have thought of that ourselves. Completely cut me out of the deal and like went on their own. And I'm like, you mother. No, just kidding. I was so mad. I was like, I could not believe this. So. Unfortunately, they called me like 10 months later. I'm so sorry. We should have went with you. We did not know what we were doing. We're getting foreclosed on. And I'm like, I wish I could help you. I'm so sorry, but I don't know what to do. Bye. I let them hang out to dry on that one. But what the solution was the person who they were buying it from was upside down, and he had an adjustable rate mortgage, and it was getting ready to adjust higher, $1,000. So it was a $2,500 a month payment going to $3,500 a month payment. These people had $42,000 cash that they wanted to buy this house. They just like emotionally attached to the wrong properties. It's like, finding love in all the wrong places. These people are like finding like houses in all the wrong places. So the dude that was selling the house saw them coming a mile away. And so I walked him through the structure. I said, look, this is not a property that I would buy, but if you're going to buy it, this is how I would do it. So they gave the guy the down payment money. The down payment money was earmarked to offset his adjustment payment. So they can keep the same monthly payment because they had no problem affording the monthly payment. They couldn't afford $3,500, but they could definitely afford the $2,500. So they gave him the down payment, so basically $12,000 on top of all this stuff. And they gave him more money on top of that. I think they gave him a total of like, it must have been, altogether was $42,000. So 42 minus 12, it's like $33,000, whatever. Contract never got written that way. So that $12,000 never went to what they thought it was going to go to. Here they come all of a sudden. Now it's time for them to refinance. And guess what? They can't refinance because they still have to come up with an extra $42,000. Like, oh, no, that $42,000 was just for the right for you to buy the property in the future if you wanted to. Yeah.
Cracked it off.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
Lost the house, lost their money, lost everything. They called me crying. Sorry, guys. I wish I could help you. You didn't trust me to begin with. Why would you trust me now? Tough lesson.
They bought it to live in it?
They were living in the house. They'd already been living in the house for a number of years. Sweet couple. I mean, I feel for them. Yeah. Got to be careful. Contracts. Great segue. Checks in the mail. All right, guys. Your deal is only as good as the contract used to secure it. That could not have been timed any perfectly. It's your job to know what contracts to use and when. That's what you get paid for. That's it. Your contracts is what make you money. So contracts to buy, purchase and sale agreement, P&S. We have contracts that we're going to sign, contracts that are for subject to purchases, and equity purchase contracts. Pierre, these are only for California only, and it's based on the Civil Code Statute 1695.
And that's a foreclosure house.
Foreclosure house. Yep. It is the Homeowner Equity Protection Act. Read it, become familiar with it. 1695. It's not long, but you're going to get these slides.
All the disclosures,
Yeah.
things of recension.
Yep, we're going to definitely go into greater detail here. So what else do you want to get signed at time of contract? A letter of authorization and seller disclosures. All of this is going to be in your guys' books, and we're going to be using these under Module 4. So your flash drive has this, and then, of course, we're going to go into detail here. All right. So your assignable purchase and sale agreements. When would you use an assignable purchase and sale? Wholesale. When you're going to sign the contract. So it's going to be a wholesale deal. So it says that you can, buyer may assign or otherwise transfer any of buyer's rights, titles, and interest in and to this purchase agreement to a third party without seller's consent. I don't need your permission, Mom. I can do this. So I wrote here just wholesale contract. So I actually want to take the time with you and read through these contracts. All right? And I'm going to go through them how I will go through them with my sellers. I'm not going to sit there and go, number 3, prorations. Real property taxes will be prorated based on the current time. I'm not going to do that with my seller. I'm going to be like, ba, 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 ba. This is what this means. So I'm going to give you the gist of these contracts. If you want to go into the nuts and bolts and read them even more granular detail, you're more than welcome to. I encourage you to at least once, so you at least know what you're signing. But when you're explaining it to them, I want to have you hear what I say to my seller when they ask me, like, what's this mean? What does this mean? And we're cool to go with that.
Can I make a request?
Hang on real quick, hang on.
That this is sort of like earmarked.
All right, and then we're done. Okay, thank you, guys.
Because I'm definitely going to want to go back through this and listen to how you go through contracts. Because that's something I'm definitely going to want to go back and listen to soon. So can we are these going to be like chaptered out when we get the video?
I don't know how he's going to do it. Honestly, I don't.
That's my request.
Yeah,
That
so.
we can get through this.
How about I make a request, you just pay attention? I'm just kidding, guys. Eric is like, he's like my kid brother. We're probably like the same age anyway, though. Eric and I, we do a lot of deals together, so. What was that?
I think I'm 3 months older. You are.
How old are you?
Now I'm 38.
And now you are? Oh, he is older than I am. He's my dad. When was your birthday, man?
April.
Oh, man, happy birthday. All right. So wholesale contract. So this contract was made, so it's just the date, the seller, and their address. It's between you as the buyer and or signs, and then your mailing address. Okay? Any clarification on that? Pretty straightforward. Purchase and sell, you're just going to put in the property's address. Purchase price, you're going to put in, I'd actually leave this blank. So I don't put in purchase price yet because I don't know. Terms, I leave blank. So proration, basically it says any proration of the property taxes up until the day of close is the seller's responsibility. Anything after that are my responsibilities. Pretty straightforward. Any defects, basically they're saying, hey, look, there's no like crazy things wrong with my property. Like you're not going to get like, you know, there's no radioactive material on the property, nothing hazardous, you're not going to die. So they're warranting that. There's no judgments that are looming on the property that's going to take away any of the equity. So basically you're just finding out like, hey, are these things, do you own the property? Is there anything wrong with it? Do I think I have to worry about if I buy it from you? Possession, they're going to give you the keys on the day you close, if not sooner. Inspections, you have the right to give the property owner 24-hour in advance right to inspect the property before the closing date. Now you have contingencies. This is on the second page here, number 8. On page 13, it's number 8. So this is where you want to put your contingencies. So it says, the inspection report must be satisfactory to the buyer, and all deposit monies will be immediately refunded and all contract obligations considered null and void if something were to come up and arise during your inspection period. So I just put here, the inspection shall be conducted and contingency concluded within 21 business days, 14 business days, 7 business days, whatever you prefer to put in there. So this is your weasel clause.
So like what we talked about.
Get free out of jail clause. This is it right here. If you wanted to, you could be that guy that goes and puts 50 properties under contract, puts them all under for 21 days, tries to sell all 50, whatever you can't sell, like, oh, sorry guys, try to sell it, couldn't do it, and backs out, just ties up a bunch of property. You will probably be fined for that.
Find it?
Yeah, dude. You get busted. You will, maybe not fined, but you will lose your reputation in town, and no one will do business with you.
Why would you want to do that?
Well, there are guys that do that.
Quick question.
Yep.
Do you ever buy as an entity instead of as Ryan Nickel?
My number one seller is an entity, or buyer. Excuse me. My number one buyer is an entity. He's also a real estate agent. So what do I put in there under terms? Contract may be assigned to such and such LLC, where the principal owner is a real estate agent. If you are selling to a licensed real estate agent, you have to notify that in writing to the seller. Yep.
Is it on here?
That's what my terms are.
So if you don't have a buyer, get under contract, find your buyer's real estate agent, have to go back to the seller, say, I'm assigning this to a real estate agent.
If he's the buyer. Yeah. So, yeah, and I've done addendums. It's not a big deal. Yep.
Why wouldn't you just have that built in?
Because I don't know if he's always going to buy my properties or not.
Can't you say
First contract, then the-
may assign to a, can't you just put it in there as a
I
maybe?
think it has to be definitive.
I've had other contracts where it's a checkbox. I either check it yes or no. I don't even worry about it. It takes me all of 2 seconds to write it in. Yeah. So the contingency in this. So the important things are here is you get the seller's information right, and then the contingency is your way out, guys. Okay. So if you can't sell it, you're out.
So yesterday, you know, for me, so we were talking about, since I'm new, I can put in like 30 days. That gives me enough time to find a buyer.
Yeah.
Anything sooner, if I get also that sooner, then I'm just looking.
Okay, exactly right. Yeah.
So on that 30 days thing, I thought you said you do a 14 inspection.
I never put an inspection more than 21 days. Yeah, 14, 21, 7. But 30 is like, it's kind of like, what do you need 30 days to inspect my property for?
So just put 21.
I put 21, yeah. You can get into start
I'm
marketing.
just trying to.
But that's business days, so you're looking still at 4 weeks.
It's actually calendar days.
Oh.
Yep.
Here it says working days.
Oh, okay, well, there you go, 21 business days. There you go, even better. So,
I don't know what.
see, I don't even know what my own contract says.
It says working days.
It's the traditional
Working is legally the same thing as business?
I guess so. Yeah.
work is business.
Risk of loss, basically you're saying to the seller, hey, look, you know what, anytime that, between now and until I close, anything that happens to your property, that's your responsibility. I can't control anything. If someone wants to come in and vandalize the property, it's not my fault. Number 10, acceptance. Basically, you're giving them a deadline. Seller must accept this contract. I usually go out like 2 or 3 days by 5 p.m. If they don't accept it, then it becomes null and void. So my deposit, $500. my escrow deposit. Closing, I put the closing date on them before at 5 p.m., whatever that date is, usually 30 days out is where I put it, maybe 45 days, just depends. Subject to 90-day period in which the buyer is permitted to clear any title problem. So if something comes up in the title report like, oh, by the way, did you know you had child support? What the heck? Oh, yeah, you owe child support. Okay. Now you have 90 days to let them clear that child support thing. Could buy you more time to find a buyer if something like that happens.
So on 12, you are closing, you give a date and time.
A date and time.
And it's usually,
Oh, if when you find those issues, right?
No, when I'm drafting the contract, I'm going to put my close day in there,
What's your acceptance term usually? How long do you wait?
like 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
So here,
So I'm going to put 30 days out as like my close of escrow. Automatically, I'm going to put 30 out.
21 here.
Yeah, unless I've talked to him on the phone and like I say, excuse me, like, you know, how soon do you need to move? Like, we need to go tomorrow. I know I'm doing a pretty quick close. My buyer and my title company, we can close deals in as quick as 7 days.
If the title company cooperates.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. We've had an experience in Southern California with the title company. They just, oh, that means nothing on a contract. We close when we want to close. Dang it, we're the title company. Excuse me, we're now in breach of contract. This guy can walk away at any second now. We don't have a deal anymore. Yeah. Frustrating as anything happened to you. So number 13 are your other agreements. Buyer agrees to purchase property as is. Buyer agrees to pay all closing costs. Buyer may assign or otherwise transfer buyer's rights, title, or interest in this purchase agreement to a third party without the seller's consent. Buyer may place signs and show property immediately upon acceptance of this contract by both parties. So I used to put signs in the yard. I no longer put signs in the yard. Why?
Vandalism.
No. People buy online. I used to put signs in the yard. I used to put signs on the neighborhood, like down the street corners, like pointing towards the house, all this stuff, like, hey, house for sale, blah, blah, blah. All my buyers come from online these days. Very few people are driving by, and even if they call because they're driving by, they don't end up buying the property. So I found my experience, so I don't do that anymore. And then in the event of default, the sole remedy is the earnest money deposit. So if I blow past my contingency and I just screw around, like, oh, sorry, my buyer backed out or whatever, I lose my earnest money deposit, $500, if it had been paid.
Do you actually open escrow to put that $500 in? Or you just give it to them?
I have a relationship with my title company. Great question. If you're wholesaling a lot of properties or you're doing a lot of properties, $500 can get very, very costly. If you're doing 5 properties, that's $2,500 all at once. So what I have done is I go to my title company and say, look, here's $500. I'm going to keep it on a continual retainer with you guys. It's going to sit here, $500. We're just going to transfer it from property to property to property. That way I'm not cutting checks every single month on these properties. And they're totally fine with that.
and that can be for multiple properties at the same time.
Exactly right, yep.
That's just a check that's not cashed.
No, it's cashed. It's sitting in the escrow, yeah. But they just, whenever they ask for the money in the escrow department, it's there. So, but now I don't even do that anymore. Now I've done so many deals, I call up Patty. Hey, Patty, open up. I got another one for you. She's like, okay, great. Go ahead and open up the escrow for me. So, like, we opened up escrow on Allison's property. I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. She's like, great. I'll go ahead and open up a prelim for you. So she went ahead and started like doing all the work. Allison sold it to somebody else before we ever got in a contract. So you have a relationship with your title company rep. You do enough deals there, or just even in general, they'll open up title for you no matter what. What I have found, I used to think that sellers would call in and like, has my escrow been opened up? They don't even do that. They don't have a clue what's going on. You really are like the liaison. You're the go-between, the middle person that's kind of holding their hand through the process of how this all goes down. So I open up title. It just sits there until we close. That's prohibition. Basically, it says this agreement establishes prohibition against transfer, conveyance, or encumbrance of the property. So this guy can't do anything to it. Yes?
What's 14?
Oh, time is of the essence. Basically, they better hurry up, because if they don't do it, then something could change. We could walk away. Yep. No problem. So you sign it, date it, and you're done.
On the San Joaquin house, our buyer just opened up escrow.
Yes. All my buyers always open up escrow now. I didn't share that, did I?
No.
So I no longer have the $500 in escrow anymore. What I now do is I will open up escrow myself and give them the contract, give them my assignment of contract. In that particular case, on our San Joaquin house, I had already given Don the contract and our assignment of contract, and he went ahead and opened up escrow where he wanted to go. Because I don't have a relationship in that market, and I don't want to like go to one. He's like, "Oh, that's horrible people." Well, obviously he chose the wrong one, so he can't blame us for that one. So yeah, in markets where I don't know, I'm gonna give it to the buyer. Let them decide where they're gonna go with it.
So you give them this contract here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You give them, it's signed.
So one thing you're gonna have, guys, is you're gonna have a spreadsheet where you just type in all that person's information, buyers, sellers, addresses, all this stuff, and then you go and you print, and it automatically populates all of it into this contract for you.
Awesome.
So like what she was saying, so she, or saying, you basically hand this contract over to the buyer. And then they go.
No.
and open an escrow?
So the buyer, it depends. So the way I do it in my market here is I call up the title rep and I say, hey, I have a property that we are closing on. I've assigned the contract already. I will send you the contract and the assignment of contract to be opened up in this buyer's name. And that's how we do it. That's because I already have the relationship. The other way that Gwen is talking about is we found the buyer, but we didn't have the title company. So I gave the buyer the contract and the assignment of contract, and they opened it up in their name with their title company.
So the assignment of contract is what the guy who's buying it from you.
Yep. And that's what we're going to go into.
So do you typically continue to use the title company just to maintain the relationship?
Well, that's where my buyer wants to go.
You did that because we were down there and we didn't have a title company down there.
Yep.
But our buyer was down there
Yep.
and he already worked with the title company down there.
He works with every title company
Right.
down there. Yeah.
But he was already down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's already established, and so I said, "Hey, go Don. Here's the information. Let's go with it."
Huh.
And he already signed the assignment of contract, and so he was good.
With a crappy title company.
Yeah, I mean, it's luck of the draw. You really didn't know that it was going to be that bad. He had no clue. It sucked, but it was bad.
So the closing, you make that 30 days after the date of the contract?
Uh-huh.
And is that, I've never been through ESCO before, is the closing actually when
Everything
they
is
cut the
awesome.
checks? I mean, that's.
Yeah, it should be funded and recorded that day, so everyone's going to be in there signing like 2 or 3 days prior to that.
How long does it take? So basically you're counting on 7 days in escrow. If you take the full 21 days, you're counting.
No. Escrow's opened up day one.
As soon as that contract is signed, within 3 days, you have to open up.
That's right.
Escrow.
Yep.
You
Uh-huh. You have to open up escrow.
And that, any kind of deposits have to be deposited.
So you guys don't know this story.
This contract? Between the, I didn't do that.
What? On what?
On Freeman.
You didn't go through escrow on Freeman, that's why. Let me see if I can find this for you guys.
You're going through escrow, you have to do it within 3 days.
Yeah, if you're wholesaling the property, you're going through escrow.
For wholesale.
Yes, you are.
Did we sort of deal with wholesale?
No, you did an assignment of contract. And Gary chose not to go through escrow. Your buyer chose not to. We're going to get into going through escrow and not going through escrow. Geez, guys. Oh my gosh. Let me find this. Oh my gosh. So I find this house. You all remember I told you about this house where I'm like, hey man, tell your old lady to give me a call?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we remember that.
All right.
I got money for it.
Okay. I go over there and we're negotiating on price. We're doing all this stuff. And Okay, I'm gonna give you the Reader's Digest version of what happened. So I go over there and I'm negotiating with her on this price, and I'm telling her, I'm like, yeah, I could probably be right around here, but I offered her 185 on the property, and she's like, I need 2. I really need 2. I'm like, well, I don't know. I need to bring my contractor over, who was my buyer, to let me know if he, because he was like, I don't know about that price on 2. So he walks over on 2 and he's like, yeah, I want this house. This is a sweet house. I want this house. 2 is perfect. We'll take it at 2. So we go across the street and we're talking at the park. Meantime, this dude rolls up in this Mercedes, almost crashes, like he's blind, like almost crashes into the tree, like stumbles out of the car, and like walks up with like his like walker to like the front porch, goes inside the house. And then I'm like, hey, look at that! Like I'm like, look at this guy's Don King, because he gets a big old afro and all this stuff. Like he can barely walk. I'm mocking this fool, and he's over there in the house. And he drives off finally. He like gets back in his car and like stumbles around, like drives off. And I'm like, dude, I can't believe this guy. We totally just like scored on this house. So we walk over there. We're like, yeah, we're awesome. Yeah, we're gonna get this house for $200,000. And knock on the door, and I'm like, hey, Andrea, I'd like to buy this house. She's like, I'm so sorry, guys. I just signed with that guy. I'm like, what? Like, literally, I'm like about ready to cry. I'm like, I worked so hard. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You just signed with that guy. She's like, he offered me 2. I'm like, no. How much? She's like, 200,000. I'm like, 200,000? That's what I was going to pay you, 200,000. And we can close in like 5 days. When is he closing? She's like, 30 days. 30 days? Why didn't you take my offer of $200,000 in 5 days? Well, because Ryan, you told me that you're going to do 185, and your contractor needed to look at the property. You didn't say that that you guys could do it at 200. I'm like, crap, I never told her that. He just told me he wanted it, and that was it, and I was all excited, and we're going to go back and talk to her. Lost that property. So pissed.
So she just said 200, yeah?
Huh?
Sign it.
Pimped by Don King.
Pimped by Don King. Here I am thinking I'm like this cool dude mocking this guy who just outfoxed me. I was pissed. I was hurt. I'm like, I can't believe this happened to me.
He walked better than you.
He's right. He had better swagger than me, you know? So I go back home, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous. This was on a Friday. All weekend I'm stewing. Finally, I go back over to her on a Monday, and I'm like, so I text her on Monday. I want you guys to see this. So, thank you for showing me the house. We'll both be over there tomorrow at 10. Okay, thank you. Okay. Sorry for the last one. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I have an appointment at noon tomorrow. Will you guys be done by then? Yeah. Yeah, no more than an hour. Did Mel get a hold of you? Okay, cool, yes. Okay, see you tomorrow. Okay, then. Oh, Mel's the guy that she was going to, this guy. Did Mel ever tell you? So, anyway, I lost the deal. I'm like, what the heck, dude? So, December 7th.
This guy, which is Don King?
Don King. His name is Mel. Don King.
Why are you talking to Mel?
No. So Mel's real name is Melchizedek. So Mel, who drove up from Fresno because the next door neighbors were his friends, told him that this house was going to be sold. And I'm like, what? All right, what are the odds here? So anyway, I lost the deal to Mel. So on December 11th, I'm not letting this one go. December 11th, did Mel tell you which title company he's opened escrow with? Something isn't sitting right with me. I took the liberty to call all title companies in both Yuba and SAC, and no one has opened escrow file for your house. Remember, 3-day escrow, 3-day open it up. I appreciate you checking for me. Thank you. Sure thing. I was really heartbroken to find out that you went with him. If he backs out or fails to perform, please keep me in mind. I sure will. And then she goes, you said the most that I would be offered would be 85, so of course I went his direction. I need as much as I can get just to get my debt paid off and still have enough to move, buy another place, and start over. I'm sorry. Then it's really my fault because Randy was willing to give you 210. And I'm like, screw you. I'll stick this one in this one, like a little salt in the moon here. She's like, he went outside to call the title company to see how fast they could close. We had our contract all drafted up and ready for you to sign when we came back. Having him there look at the damage, he told me that it wasn't that bad as I thought it was and that he could do it for 210 and it would be a fair offer. LOL, sorry I didn't realize. Damn it. Yeah, that's how I feel. LOL. Well, I guess we'll find out soon. You can see it all right, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, at least I know why it was eating at me. Thank you, Ryan. Thumbs up. Why? I don't know how clue. I hope it goes well for you, and if we don't talk, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. Hey, question. Sure. I hear if I take a big enough loss on the sale of my home that I may not have to take pay full capital gains tax. Is that true? Yes. That makes me feel better. Have you lived in the house for 2 of the last 5 years? And now, while I'm writing this information to her, I'm like, why are you asking me this? Go talk to Mel. Have Mel give you this information. Why am I giving you this free advice here? Yes, I've lived here for 18 years, living. Then you can sell it up to $250,000 and not pay a dime in capital gains, so you're completely fine. Did you guys know that? Okay. Nope.
As a single person.
As a single person, if you've been living in the house for the last 2 of the 5 years, you do not pay capital gains up to $250,000.
Why does she hear she's gonna take the loss?
She doesn't know anything. Yeah, she's thinking that, she owes taxes and all kinds of back stuff. She had like a $50,000 IRS lien on her. If you're married, it's $500,000. Okay, so keep going. Oh, thank God. So here's the next day. Oh. Randy, they accepted our bid yesterday for the house in Gridley. I'm working on the one on Oroville today. Shoot, not meant for you, but hey. So I was like, oh, my bad, sorry. Let me just go ahead and start talking to you anyway.
So was that a real mistake?
No, it was not a real mistake. It was done on purpose. I do this a lot. Like, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't for you, but hey, what's going on? Shoot, not meant for you, but hey, I called Fresno Title Companies, no open escrow for you. Have you received a call from a title company introducing themselves as your escrow officer and getting your personal info to contact the IRS? So because she had an IRS tax lien, they had to contact her in order to get a release to contact the IRS to get what the payoff is on that lien judgment. They can't talk to her. They can't talk to the IRS. So I'm like, this is, okay, so guys, this gets way, way better now. Not yet. Mel just called me last night to say he had opened it that day. Okay. From 7th to the 12th, how many days is that? 5 days. I guess with the 30-day escrow, there's no rush on his end. Still odd that no title company in Fresno has record of it. So I'm now like, I'm creating some doubt here. Some serious doubt with her.
You put seed, now you're just watering it.
That's right. So, as a home seller, how long should I wait, and what are my rights when it comes to Mel, the title company, and whether or not he has even opened an escrow account? I don't understand the looking for a buyer thing that he may or not be doing. Oh, I told her that too. I'm like, 30 days. It sounds like he's shopping for a buyer. He's not your buyer. Like that's if I was competing against you, Eric, and your contract said 30 days, and I showed up and I said I can do this in 5. Well, I'm already in contract with the guy that says he can do it, and we're closing in 30 days. I'm like, if he's a cash buyer, he's not a cash buyer if he's taking 30 days to close. He's shopping that contract trying to find a buyer. You're dealing with a wholesaler. I'm a professional. We have cash in the bank. That's how I outperform those guys. So you're going to see this. I already lost this house to Mel, but I've planted that seed. I'm like, oh, he's not a cash buyer. You might see. Whoops, don't want to do any of that. Oh, hey, how you doing? I don't understand looking for a buyer thing. I'm going to call him. Hey, stop that. I'm going to call him tomorrow. Ask about title company, the time limit, et cetera. Anything else I should be asking? Thanks. Well, most California approved contracts state, here I am, most California approved contracts state that the buyer has 3 days to open escrow and deposit the earnest money before the contract becomes void. Not sure what kind of contract he had you sign. Do you have a copy? Yes. All right, guys. It should state in there, if he's opened escrow, ask for the name of the company and escrow officer. You can call and verify that it has been opened and that the money has been deposited. This took me off guard. This is what I signed. Andrea Willis Moore, phone number. I have agreed to sell my property at this address for the sum of $200,000. Close on or before 1/15/2018. Buyer to deposit $5,000 cash balance at closing. At closing.
With no other terms.
Other pages.
You gotta love it.
I was like, are you you're joking me right now? I'm like, not only did I get it beat out by Mel, but I got beat out with Mel with this piece of crap contract. It goes on, and it says that Mel is a licensed real estate agent, broker.
No, he's not.
He actually is broker. He's a licensed broker.
Oh, I'd be reporting.
I looked him up to verify that.
How many complaints against him?
All this other crap in this contract that's like anything. So I said, if it hasn't, your contract isn't valid. And then she goes, this is all that I've signed and all I have. Wow. I don't know what to say, guys.
Is that a copy?
Those are the. She took pictures of what he was taking with him. I'm like,
Oh.
what the heck?
If it doesn't have the 3-day clause, it's not valid. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. He typically he has 3 days to deposit to
If he hasn't followed.
if he hasn't deposited in 3 months, then the contract's not valid anymore.
Was this?
So I read this thing and it tells me that he's a California broker. So I'm like, he's a licensed broker and didn't use a California approved contract?
Is this a foreclosure?
No,
Pre-foreclosure?
no.
No?
Nope.
Okay, so she didn't have the right of rescission.
Nope. He didn't even give me a business card.
She,
If escrow has not been opened and $5,000 deposited today, you're off the hook. I don't know what to say. Too late to call now, but I will do first thing in the morning. Okay. So next day, I have some really good news for you. This is me to her, because I haven't heard from her by now. At 7:30 in the morning, by the way. I'm just like, please help me. Me? Tell me. Just curious, did Mel ever get back with you? Also, Randy spoke with Patty at Placer Title. She plans to have a title report back today. We'll let you know what it says about the liens. I was told he called my neighbor, this lady that lives next door, but never called me. Guessed it wasn't a big enough deal for him. Fine by me. Oh, sorry, this is the 15th. So I didn't hear from her. So, okay, so she's like, tell me. I go and knocked on her door. And I'm at the house, and I have my contract in hand. Because the days passed, the 5 days of him putting the deposit in, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to your house. So I go to the house with contract, and I pull it out, and I go, this is what a real contract looks like. And her boyfriend goes, I told you! He's like jumping all up and down and stuff like that, going crazy. He's like, I know you shouldn't have signed that piece of crap. And so anyway, I'm like, look, here's what's happening. I told her like this. I said, look, this contract says that you're going to have to split in the closing costs. So you're not really buying the house for $200,000. He's buying it for $200,000 minus the $5,000 or $6,000 in closing costs. You might walk away with $194,000. Let me help you get $200,000 all completely. I will buy it for $200,000, pay all closing costs. So $200,000 is your number, $200,000. She's like, really? I didn't even know that. I'm like, yeah, I feel bad for you. You're making $6,000 less than you even thought you were going to make. So she signs my contract, and then, of course, we go, what you see here. Mel never called back. He talked to the neighbor afterwards, never even bothered to talk to her when she canceled it. Because I said, you call this guy and you cancel right now. So she called him on the phone. He didn't answer. She's like, I'm canceling my contract with you. I have gone a different direction. Thank you. Never called her back. And I was like biting my nails. I'm like, oh, is this going to close? What's going to happen? You know, it's going to come out of nowhere. Yeah, she said he called, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it all goes back. We ended, look at that, lion cats. Or Thundercats, that's what it was, yeah. Like, that's a Thundercat. So anyway, that was that. When you said like titles, like when you said the 3-day thing, this is the story that came to my mind. That piece of crap contract, dude. I was like, I'm not going down like this. I am not going to go down like this at all. So we, I fought that one. I got it back. Fought for that guy. But man, it was
Take that, Dunking.
seriously, man.
So if we got a 21-day contingency, we're looking for a buyer. We're to go down and have escrow.
Just make sure you're not competing against me because I'll outperform you.
And make sure you have a contract.
You know that?
Yeah, but somebody can